Howdy, y'all. Clem Hawkins here. Just came up with the concept, Cruisin with Clem Hawkins and eLvis. Cruisin with Clem and eLvis. Cruisin with eLvis. Driving Mr. eLvis. Anyway, I got a bit irie. Before I got stoned, I was thinking about going to get food. But now I'm thinking if I go get food, it'll ruin my buzz. So I might as well just keep on going and chit chat as I can. See how the little earplugs down there. I've been doing a lot of tests. Cannot easily show you, but the idea is that this would be what's it called? How it all began from the beginning while it's beginning. How about that? Be here now and in the future, looking back on it, it's documented, but at the same time, maybe it'll help others. Today I saw this thing by Hobo Alley, who is a young woman who does a video on the YouTube about how she's been living in her van, and myself and Mr. eLvis have been living in this Jeep for well over 2 years, I believe. And it's definitely a challenge. But when I think about how people must live, there's a woman that works at the Jack. Most of the girls that work in the Jack in the Box do not make enough money to live on. If minimum wage was $10 an hour and you had no taxes, that would be $4, $8, $12, $1,600. That's about average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Denver or something like that. Since it's less than that and you get taxes, you're looking at about $1,200, okay? Just follow me with the math. When housing and other formulas come into play, as far as like loans and whatnot, they require that you earn 3 times the price of your rent, which means that if you're renting a place for $1,000, you're supposed to be making $3,000. So you'd have to be making $30 an hour just to qualify to rent a place in Denver at that number. Unless you did what a lot of people have to do, get roommates, this, that, and the other. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of sharing my sleeping space or my living space and my eLvis space. I understand that, dog, better than anybody, and most people, they think, but they don't know. I'm aware eLvis isn't necessarily one to just be left alone. If I left him by himself, the only person that could go get him would be me. So, anyway, we're cruising around. We were supposed to do some snow plowing, but of course, again, it didn't snow. Fucking loving my joke about, man, that's slower in molasses in January, but not in Denver, someplace where it's cold. I'm not sure if that's where I came up with the retarded thing. I'm not sure. Just chit-chatting and whatnot. My plan was to go to the Jack in the Box, but I'm getting this sense I ought to be supposed to do something else, and I'm not sure what it is. I currently only have this one phone. I have another phone that's worth, I think, $30, $35 if I can get it returned, but I don't have the receipt, and it's way the fuck out on the tower by the airport. When I get like this, and it happens sometimes, what I do is I cruise around and I just follow signs and signals. I have my own way of doing it, and I'm sure if anybody's looking at this as far as taking advice on residentially challenged situations, if you got a place, then, and I think this is just coming to mind, but I'm thinking that the reason that they make that price index as such is because unless you're working to earn your space, you're in your space. It's like a jail cell. It's like it's a prison, like Concrete Jungle. That's what I meant. Not a jail cell, a Concrete Jungle. Bob Marley song. As long as we're busy working, we're too busy to pay attention. It's like in high school. They give you just enough homework. When I was in junior high back in the day, because I'm a little bit older than most, maybe. Now this is a gold car turning right, so we just decided to turn right. We don't know where we're going. We're just wandering. Cruising with Clem and eLvis. Woohoo! What was I saying again? Oh, the trap. The aspect of keeping us all boxed in a routine. There are no bars that you can see, but because you don't have any money, you dummy. Of course, that's me talking to myself. If I had money, I'd be at a bar. Since I don't have money, I'm talking to you. And if I knew how to say, click the link below to send me some drinking money, I would, but I don't know how to do that yet. So click the link. Click the link below and show me how to make a link to click on that gets me beer money. How about that? We can't do it alone. The idea of this is to pass it forward. I used to think, back in the day before this existed, we hippies, we would travel around and we would share our experience, strength, and hope, and knowledge, and awareness. Not to steal Bill W.'s deal, but he also, and by the way, if you're listening to this for real, ask the Oracle all about Bill Wilson, LSD. There's a Texas AA group that has his original belief in it, and his thought was LSD kills the I, the individual. It's like the hippie said, of all the things I've lost, I miss my mind the most. Me, I still got kind of it's not my mind, it's, I don't always remember stuff. Some things I remember really, really great, and other things I totally slip my mind. And I used to think, and I knew this, and that's what the people, some of my closest friends appreciate about me, is sometimes I just forget. But it can be a good thing. I mean, the good thing about weed is it makes me forget shit. The bad thing about weed is it makes me forget shit. Like the other day, went to Walmart, was in a rush, trying to do something, get somewhere. I can't fucking remember what it was, and it wasn't until I got to the place, the bar, that I realized I had left, how you get the $20 cash back. So I left somebody a present, and that was a lesson for me in that don't be in such a fucking rush, and let it be. Someone was gifted. I've been gifted with stuff like that before, and if I just let it go, there's no guilt to it. So that's like a present to them. I don't know what happened to it, and attach myself to that situation makes my brain think about the past. And the more past shit that I'm thinking about, the less present I have the ability to be. And in being present, it allows me to do shit like this. Drive around talking to my coffee cup holder while my dog sits over my shoulder. Yes, maybe eventually, hopefully soon, maybe, hey, click the link below and tell me what I should do. Should I get it up there? Should I don't know. It's up to you guys. I'm new at this. First podcast ever. Cruising with Clem and eLvis. And thanks to Joe and Trey and all the other people who have interested us and inspired us. I'm pretty sure at this moment, if you clicked in I'm not sure, can you guys see who I'm subscribed to, like in my YouTube deal? If so, click the link below and tell me about it. Oh shit, there's a green. I'm following the green man. So, there's a good story. San Francisco, California, 1998. I find myself there couch surfing. I went to Burning Man 98. Was a volunteer for the founders and the head people. And they hooked me up with some people at the Space Lounge, a camp in Burning Man, that allowed me to couch surf around a bunch of their people's, apartments while I got my shit together. And I got a coffee shop job, because I used to manage a coffee shop. And then I got a computer network job where I was making my, dream job, network administrator. They had 3 guys running a network, and I had figured out how to do the whole network, just me, on my couch, because I'm lazy. Measure twice, cut once. If you work hard, you can play harder. You don't have to work so hard, just get her done. That's why this hourly shit just don't really float it for me. I could be doing Uber Eats right now, and I'd barely be making $10 an hour. And the problem with that is I can drink way more than $10 in an hour. If you're going to pay me to work, you better pay me enough to drink. And unfortunately, I've had more drinking and less working. But that puts us in this situation, and we're grateful for every moment that we got. It's a path, and it's important. And if I'd have maintained my sobriety and never jumped off a wagon the second time or what have you, we wouldn't be here, would we? So there it is. I'm sitting here, let me show you. We're sitting here because there's a train on the tracks. But then the green man's turning around, so we don't have anything else to do. We might as well. And maybe that allows us, can you see I was a little better? Maybe that allows us to continue. Oh shit, here comes a truck. Let him do his thing. Do your thing. Do your thing. Are you turning? Yeah, see, he's turning. I didn't want to get in his way. Oh, there goes the train track. And that's a green one, so I'm still going to turn around. So, back to my story about the green man. I'm in San Francisco. Got my dream job. I'm working at Academy. I'm not going to say it. Some things are better left unsaid. I was working at this place, and I had basically designed a network administration setup situation where I could administer the network from my couch. My grandfather, Papa Bashir, always said, if you're going to fix it right the first time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And measure twice, cut once. So, keeping all of those things in mind, I'm not even sure where I'm going to go. I'm going to go this way. So, keeping all that in mind, I went back to visit my mom, my granny, kind of like that. There's this thing with Michael J. Fox, a movie I remember, where he was from Kansas and he goes to make a bunch of money, and then he makes a bunch of money and he flies back to, look, I was successful. So that was kind of the point of it, and it worked. But when I got back to San Francisco, just before the new year, I found out that I discovered that the boss, the guy that had hired me to replace those other three guys, had taken my work, was planning on locking me out of the building, and using my work to get himself a six-figure job. So, being me, I deleted all my work. I deleted everything, because if you're going to like me and then throw me out and take my work, homie, don't play that shit. No sirree, Bob, thank you very much. So, anyway, bounced out of that, got another coffee job, bounced out of that, realized that no matter how hard you work in that system, I was making $35 to $50 an hour, and this is in 99, 2000 in San Francisco, or 98, 99 in San Francisco, right, in the .com boom, and talk about, it was just as expensive to work there, and that's when I realized, what a gimmick. Talk about the Rothschilds and trading places, what a gimmick to have. Imagine two brothers. One owns the business and one owns the hotel or the real estate or the land. And one says, I'll pay you a whole bunch of money. And then the other one says, but it's going to cost you this much to live there. It's such a hustle. Now, let me share some more enlightenment with you, because it's coming across my mind currently. I was in San Francisco during this whole couch surfing thing. I was house sitting actually for Steve McMillan, a buddy of mine that was running a beer place. Thanks for everything, Steve. Hey, James. Don't remember the other guy's name. But anyway, that was from the Potrero Brewing Company. So, what the shit was I talking about? Talking about, I know, the green man. Why did I bring Steve up into it? I forgot. Anyway, so the green man. I was dating this girl when, come on, Steve. No, we're not to Steve yet. We'll catch up more on Steve later. Let's get back to San Francisco before I actually did the dropping out part. Paula, I moved into this apartment right before I left for Kentucky to visit my grandparents and my mom. On my way to my mom, I got an apartment, and it was $650 for one room in a 5-bedroom flat shared with total strangers. And as luck or chance or fate would have it, this other really not Paula, who ended up becoming my girlfriend for as long as she was there, became my roommate and housemate, I guess you would call it. And she and I had 2 rooms next to each other. Whenever we would walk around in San Francisco, if she and I weren't sure which way to go, and I guess you could say it was our first date, as we met, and we had just both looked at this room. These rooms, the landlord met us both at the same time. We filled out the paperwork, paid the lady. We decided to go walking because she wanted to get drapes and bedding and stuff like that. Because she was from Ireland, Belfast, and was only there on a 1-year visa, which expired on April 1st, April Fool's Day, if you could believe that. So she always would, when we were walking around San Francisco, would say, "Follow the green man." So when I'm wandering around, it's similar to James Redfield's Celestine Prophecy when they talk about paying attention to the signs, paying attention to coincidences, paying attention to patterns or other things like that. If I'm not sure which way to go, I pay attention to those signs. If I have no particular destination, the direction and the path in which I take doesn't necessarily matter, but then again it does, because of the things that might influence me or things that would remind me or allow me to do something like this. I was talking about Hobo Alley earlier. She has a YouTube that talks all about all she's done in the, I think, 3 years since she's been living in vehicles. To be real honest, I haven't watched a whole shit ton of them. I'm not much of a joiner. I'm not much of a follower. I intentionally avoid things that might influence me in a certain way that would make what my message is somehow tainted or filtered or what have you. I'm aware that when I make funny shit up, I'm aware when I make it up. I'm also aware sometimes I might have heard it. I'm also aware that different comedians are all talking about the same things. With all the combinations of words in the world, it's for sure going to happen that 2 or 3 of us are going to say something about the same thing about the same way. And that's just for sure all I can say. So if anybody feels like I'm stealing their shit, it's all you, dude. I'm putting this out there for free. You ain't getting charged $12 plus being put in your phone box dealy. You're just getting me live hanging out as it is, like it is, when it is. And since I'm meandering down this way, I'm kind of half assuming that I'm going to my other little regular spot. So, Hobo Alley residentially challenged. I may or may not have joked that I've been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, THC, CBD, ALOS, attention deficit, oh look, a squirrel, or ADOLAS. So in the right headspace and mind frame, I can be extremely productive in short spurts of time. But I have a lot of different ideas that happen that I think a normal person might, or what I would like to do is to edit it so that each one might be its own thing, if that makes much sense. Cruisin with Clem and eLvis. You still there, buddy? I hope they can see you. Cruisin with Clem and eLvis. And yeah, that's another thing. And as this is the first one, I'm going to have to figure out how to flip that deal so you can see it the right way. Because all the ones I put from the camera to the phone, when you turn it on, it's sideways because the phone's straight up and down instead of landscape. Anyway, back to residentially challenged. I have found by living in the vehicle, one of the best things that you need to do is to maintain mobility. As long as you're always moving, it's less likely someone's going to kick you in the foot and tell you to move. Move along, kick you in the foot, move along. When I first dropped out in San Francisco and I was straight up on the sidewalk and then later in Golden Gate Park, we used to have a name for the police called Six Up, and it was an undercover way back on the lots when we were on tour, when we were working shows and traveling around with the family. Hippie Hill, for those that weren't aware, was a sort of auditioning spot, because if you had the skills to work on Hippie Hill, you might get picked up by a bus and taken on the road. And then if you're on the road with the bus and the family, then you could hop ship, jump ship, do whatever. That's how we get along. That's how we get around. And at the same time, it's how we communicate. At least we used to. But this is in a day when homies didn't have cell phones. If there's anything, there's pagers, but we didn't have none of that neither. Because if we had change for a phone, we're going to use it on beer or weed or tobacco or maybe food. So, following the Green Man and paying attention to coincidences. And James Redfield's Celestine Prophecy, highly recommended. Oh yeah, required reading. If this all works out, I'm almost of the opinion, let's say I get lucky and I get discovered and I get a Showtime special. Hopefully while Elvis is still around. And let's say that all happens, right? We'll all be looking back going, oh, how did that happen? And other people that are doing what I'm doing will be able to see that it's possible. And not necessarily in the same manner and channels. Back in 99 and 2000, weed, for those of you in Colorado that think you for all the fucking, you're so awesome and this, that, and the other, all I have to say is Prop 215, 1997. Sitting here being all high and mighty, and you are high and you are mighty. And it's true, I didn't come here for the weed, I came here with weed. Got paid $200 an ounce, or a pound, to trim 10.5 pounds, and then deliver 13.5 pounds to Denver. Probably made about $1,300 in 2 days. And it is true, the weed here made me stay. I went back to Missouri last year and had an issue forgetting about the weed thing. And growing up in Missouri, everything was in code. We always had to hide it. You never got to go out in public and do shit because you're always stoned in the basement. My friends would always be like, oh, that was, well, anyway. Back to residentially challenged and traveling and being mobile. If you're on the curb, after I bounced out of San Francisco, there's a big long story. Oh, there you go. All of this is documented in my book, my micro novel. I totally forgot about this. The Secret of Timing is Comedy, huh, God? It's all documented in American Misfits, and that's American Misfits with an S. $sign is the last S. So American Misfits on Facebook, you can read all about it. I end up back down in Santa Cruz, get a VW bus, and start traveling around. Before I got the VW bus, I got that VW bus traveling around, but ended up back in all of those places. Basically, I was going from Santa Cruz all the way up to Arcata. Sometimes, I don't think I ever drove the bus up to Portland. Anyway, in Santa Cruz, when you lived in your van, they made it illegal to sleep in your vehicle. The trick was, if they couldn't see you and you never answered the door, they couldn't hand you the ticket because it was a personal ticket. It wasn't a vehicle ticket. So most people just put shades up on their windows and park like that. You get tired of being in the same places. Plus, when you only have a backpack and a sleeping bag as your personal space, however much space you can afford or are willing to invest in. If that's all you got, it doesn't take much, but you can't travel very far. When you got a vehicle, especially in San Francisco, it's hard to park it and find places to park where you're going to be okay. So movement is required. Movement requires landing. It's like spacecraft and landing stations or whatever. I'm driving this spacecraft, being this Jeep, and I need little ports. And if I had the dash cam going as well as this thing, maybe I'd be smarter. Maybe I'm liking it this way.